Yo, I'm tripping tonight. You see what I don't know. What am I doing with this thing? Okay. What am I doing? All right, I'm tripping. I had a blonde moment, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And this evening, we'll be talking about executive orders. I believe that we need to be educated or at least introduce what executive order is and what do executive orders does, right? Because it's important for you to know essentially the power of the Oval Office. It's important for you to know the power of the president. And I think a lot of times that we get lost and essentially we think that the government cannot do anything. We think that your political affiliation cannot do anything. But let me just put some reference to this very quickly. When Donald Trump was in office, Democrats complained they couldn't do nothing for certain melanated groups because the Republicans control the House and the Senate. And at one time, the first 2 years, we understand the Democrats controlled essentially the Senate, right? But later on in that presidency, they owned both. Now that the Democrats own both, I'm trying to figure out what you don't necessarily have to pass through Congress, that the president can sign an executive order. And I think we should be educated. I think we should be informed of essentially what an executive order is. Good evening to all of you who just joined in here. So let's read what an executive order is. And I think that's important. We're going to put some relevance to it as well. Okay, an executive order is a means of issuing federal directives in the United States used by the President of the United States that manages operations of the federal government. Presidential elective orders, once issued, remain in force until they are canceled, revoked, and adjudicated unlawful or expire on their terms, right? And then it says essentially here, what does an executive order actually do? Executive orders state mandatory requirements for the executive branch and have the effect of the law. Listen to that. It has the effect of a law. They are issued in relation to a law passed by Congress or based on powers granted to the president in the Constitution and must be consistent with those authority, okay? It goes into how they are enforced, okay? It says, for example, state attorney general offices, meaning states have to abide by it, can act through their own authority, seeking assistance from state law enforcement, utilize the courts and judicial system, and work with state agencies that have particular policy concerns and or interests, right? So again, family, this is important that we understand that regardless of your political affiliation, and we know that a lot of us somehow lean towards Democrat, not myself, I'm apolitical, but for this particular thing, we need to understand that there's a lot of things going on in the presidency right now, and no matter who you voted for, you got duped, you got fooled, you got tricked. It's like you're asking someone for money and they tell you they're broke, but they got $1 million sitting right beside you. And they say, well, you know, I can't just use that to give to you. But it's like you have executive orders and you've done it before. And you've done it before, right? So here's the thing. And I'm just going to do some polar opposite here. Give me a second, family. I'm doing this for effect here because I think it's important that we do compare and contrast, right? So look at this. Biden signs funding bill, which includes $6.3 billion for Afghani refugees resettlement in these United States. Family, where do you think he got this money from? Okay, your tax dollars. Thank you for answering. Your tax dollars. This is where he got this money from. So I'm looking at and if we go to the Census Bureau and would they consider a certain race? I'm just saying here. Can I do that very quickly if you don't mind, family? I want to go to the Census Bureau very quickly so I can undefine race in America. I want to define race in America. I think that's fair because I want to go to a government website so they can tell me who they consider white, black, American Indian, and Asian. Okay, I want to do this for context. That's what I want to do it for, right? So, first and foremost, I think it's important that we look at Biden signs funding bill, which includes 6.3 billion for Afghani refugees, right? So, first and foremost, where is Afghanistan? That's important, right, family? Because some of us may not know where Afghanistan is. I'm trying to get a really good map so you guys can see it. If you look to your far right, Afghanistan is in the Middle East, and what's surrounded Pakistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Czechostan, okay, all the stands. This is the Middle East as we know it, right? Okay, cool. So we know that Afghanis are from the Middle East. We understand that Biden gave them 6.3 billion. And then when we head over to a little birdie and say, whoa, HBCU funding falls from 45 billion. It falls from 45 billion. They talking about, okay, man, you know, we was gonna give you $1 million. Now we're gonna give you 2,000. That's the equivalence of this, right? Or someone could say, you know, yeah, we was gonna give you $1 million, not 200,000, right? 2,000. Think about it in those terms. Somebody was going to give you $1 million, but then they turned around and gave you 2,000. The Biden administration cut funding. Don't forget. And again, I want to point out, family, I am not a Trump supporter. I don't support either political party, but Donald Trump did increase the budget for HBCUs. And your buddy Joe Biden, he subtracted $43 billion. Good evening, Jermaine Anderson and Miza. Miza says, for Afghans, for not for Americans. Of course. Of course. So I wonder where 43 of this billion went to. I don't know. I don't know what 43 billion, but I know 6.3 went to the Afghans. That's what I do know. So again, for compare and contrast, I know I told you. I know what HBCU means, right? Historically black college and university. Historically black. Okay, black people. Okay, I think we need to define what's the Afghan in America, right? What do America consider Afghanis in America? Stay there. And then what do they consider us? Well, let's go and see what they got to say about it. Black, a person, origins, any of the black racial groups in Africa. Well, I can debunk this, but I won't. Let's just say that you're black, or white, a person having origins in any of the black racial groups in Africa. So they say my lineage and heritage deranged from Africa. Okay. So what is white? A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, really now, the Middle East, and North Africa. So white people come from Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, and black people just come from Africa. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Hopefully we're learning something here of how automatically they undermine and they strip certain fundings that were in place. By a lot of us said that he was a white supremacist, but at the same time, he's essentially doing more for the guy that you didn't vote for. Or you, excuse me, that you did vote for. He's doing more than that guy. And I'm not defending anyone here. I'm just giving you the facts. Right? This is the power of the Oval Office. This is the power of the Oval Office. I remember something that you guys don't remember. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Bullshit. Yep. Bullshit. We have went over this many times, family. When I compare Biden's plan for Black America, we notice we get African American. That you get diversity. You get challenged communities. You get urban. All of these words are trick words. So if he was going to do something, which he didn't, he will give it to everybody else, and we probably get the lowest percentage. See, when you do something for somebody, you say, "Hey, man, can you hook me up?" Like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna hook you up." And all your dudes. I'm like, no, man. I just need help. I'm borrowing money from me. Yeah, I'm gonna give you say you want $10, but it's 9 of you. No. Listen, I'm borrowing the money for you. I just need something for you. Well, I can't do nothing to just benefit you. Oh, but you told me in this plan, or did you? Well, let's look at it. Let's look up diversity. Okay, cool. That's not in there. I'm on the wrong page. Here we go. Diversity. Huh. So you say to push companies to look public their overall workforce diversity and senior level diversity. Okay. It's nothing really to the point out there. Let's move. Improve teacher diversity. What does that mean? So it says for African American students, having just one African American teacher in elementary school reduces the probability of dropping out. Racial diversity. Okay. That means other groups. Promote diversity and inclusion. That means other groups. That means Asian and Hispanics. Right? So let me give you one more thing here. Let's look up minority. We love that word, right? Because we understand minority just means Black people. Or you should really know that it means everybody except white. So it says here, invest over $70 billion in the historical Black colleges. Oh, there we go. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Let's do compare and contrast. HBCU funding falls from $45 billion to $2 billion under latest Biden spending plan. Really now? Sorry about that, family. Lost where I was. Give me 1 second. But then I go to his Lift Every Voice plan. He tells me he's going to invest $70 billion. The power of the Oval Office, the power of the executive order. Guess what? He ain't doing nothing like that. He's cutting spending. He went from $43 billion to $2 billion for HBCU. I want to know if everybody who belongs to those HBCU, are you guys going to be ski-weeing and barking and all your symbols? Are you going to be out there the next 4 years for your girl Kamala Harris? Are you going to be out there for your boy Joe Biden if he survives his presidency? Are you going to be out there? Or are you going to be standing with the rest of us knowing that you're in the same boat with a different paddle? That's it. You're in the same boat but a different paddle. I don't get this. I remember growing up, Southeast DC, everybody in the neighborhood talking about voting for the Democrats, voting for the Democrats, voting for the Democrats. And here we are, another 2 generations later. More like not 2 generations, but generational people, meaning my mom, me, my son, and my son is 20. So 2 generations later within the lineage, we still talking about voting for a group that basically said, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna invest over $70 billion in historical Black colleges and universities and minority serving institution. You see that, family? Do you see that? First, he says historically Black colleges, and then it says minority, meaning everybody except white in America. I'm not making this up. This is from JoeBiden.com. But then when I do the compare and contrast, I keep saying this is heightening my senses here. Biden signs funding bill, which includes $6.3 billion for Afghani refugees. He's given a group 6.3. He's taken away a group 43. And even if you took 6.3 billion away, you'll still have what? 30-something billion. But he didn't do that. He took it all. He only left with 2 billion. And then when I go over and I figure out what people are in America, I realize that Middle Easterners are considered white in America. They're not considered other. They're not considered other. Have you noticed that, family? See, this is why you need to do compare and contrast for people to show you actual documents instead of somebody that's on the internet running their mouth. That's what I'm saying. I keep looking through this. Here is the contract with Black America that Q put out, right? And it was around here about 19 minutes. Let's listen to this very quickly. Let's just listen to some of this. Let me play some of this. Fair use, fair use. Public sector. Now, since the election, we've been focused on the private sector. So we got some interesting things going on now. My point here, family, is what happened to Ice Cube's contract with America? What happened to that? What happened to the contract with Black America from the U.S. government? Didn't Biden say, hey, after the election, we're going to sit down with the Cube. We're going to go over this contract with Black America. I sure be Willigers. I know we're going to sit down. We're going to hash this thing out. We're going to start giving you guys tangibles. We're going to start giving you that work. We're going to help Black empowerment. I went to Cube's website for the contract with Black America. Let me see if I can find this link. Here it is. Let me show you what Cube did. And there's nothing against Cube. This is nothing negative. So it says right here, we talked to Cube about his contract with Black America. This should tell you everything you need to know. This should tell you everything that you need to know. Now, have you seen this show here with the queens of cock dicks? I mean, excuse me, the queens of cocktails. You'll understand that this is still a why am I doing this video? Why? I'm just getting tired about people getting food over and over again. So here's the link to Cube's contract with Black America. This is Ice Cube's website. And this is where the link was for a contract with Black America. So I went over, I clicked on this. And the contract that was once posted here, you go here to read the contract. And this is what you get. The contract with Black America has been taken down. Do you know, you want to know why? The contract with Black America was taken down because Cube took it down. First and foremost, he was getting pushback from our own people because he took his hard working, millions of dollars to work to get very intelligent people to propose something to the government. And because Donald Trump decided, I'm going to sit down and see what you got, versus the Democrats saying, no, we're just going to wait out the election because we don't know. People went hard at Cube because he was trying to do something for us. The man is taken care of. He's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars. His family has generational wealth, but we have people to push back. See, if you have somebody speaking on your behalf with the financial backings to keep pushing that perspective and narrative, then if you don't agree with the narrative, then you don't have to say anything. Now, you can say anything, but what if? What if your people get lifted? Because it wasn't going to harm anyone. This is the power of the Oval Office. This is the power of the Oval Office. But see, when you look at certain things, family, you notice that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden is not going to do anything for any specific group. Well, there are some exceptions because last time I checked, May 28th, 2021 was this year. And this seems like a specific group: Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. I don't see Hispanic. I don't see white non-Hispanic. I don't see white Hispanic. I don't see black. I don't see African American. I don't see Afghani. And I don't see white. I see a particular group because they always encompass all of those islanders together. So now they're encompassing with Asians because they're essentially mixed with Asian. But that's okay. We get it. There are smaller populations in America. But this is something for that particular group. And then some of you may say, well, Ross, that's anecdotal. That's a one-off. Okay. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to look where all the executive orders are, and I'm going to just, scan it very quickly. So for you guys who want to know where I'm at, I am at the Federal Registry at federalregistry.gov. Again, I like to deal with government websites so people can argue against the law. People can argue against what the government's reporting on themselves. I know it's hard to do. 2021 Joseph R. Biden executive orders through a certain number order, right? So when I look at this, and I can't scroll fast enough, family, advancing equity, justice, and the opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Okay. So, of course, they get what they want. Stay with me. I know I'm scrolling pretty quickly here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else for other particular groups other than what Black Americans have been waiting for. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anything, right? So I want to go to the horse's mouth. I want to go to the head of the kingdom. Oh, wait a minute. What's this? What's this, family? White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunity through historically Black colleges and universities. So I'm looking through this White House initiative on advancing educational equity. And if you don't mind, I just want to scroll through it to see if it's talking about any tangibles. Because as far as I'm reading here, the legacy continues today. More than 100 HBCUs located in 19 states, the District of Columbia and the U.S. Virgin Islands serve nearly 300 students annually. Okay. So you're giving us statistics about how many people have essentially, how many schools that we have and how many people essentially attended, right? And then it says here that HBCUs, nearly 20% of all Black college graduates and 25% of Black graduates who earn degrees in the discipline of science, technology, engineering, and math. Okay, more information, more history. Where's the money? Where's the initiative? Oh, here it is. Here's the initiative for historical Black colleges. Okay, I'm skimming it, and you can skim with me, family. But I just want to do it live. That way we all understand what HBCUs are getting. I mean, maybe this is false. I'm just checking. All right, we're back on it. Okay, I'm skimming, working closely with the executive office. Okay, strengthen the capacity of HBCU to participate in federal programs. Family, this is it right here. This is your money. Here's your money. Strengthening capacity of HBCUs to participate in federal programs. Strengthening the capacity of HBCUs to participate in federal programs. Tell me where your money is. I can't find this page fast enough. I just want to know where your money is. Because when we look at that, family, what did you see? You saw absolutely jacking shit. That's what you saw. The power of the Oval Office. You see, when they want to get things done, how they sign executive orders for a particular group. And I'm just going over them. I'm not trying to be biased at all, right? I'm just scanning it right here in front of your face. Let's go back to it. So this is federalregistry.gov for people who don't know. It's a federal government site. I'm not making it up. Requiring coronavirus disease 2019 vaccinations for federal employees. Okay. You're going to make them do that? Whoa, 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 whoa. White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunities for Hispanics. Wait a minute. So I want you to see the difference in verbiage here. You see how this applies to all Hispanic people, no matter they're in school or not? You get what I'm saying? The last one was for HBCUs. So in order for you to receive any support, participation in any federal programs, you had to go or going to a HBCU. That's the difference. They do very anecdotal small groups, samples of trying to participate in federal programs that you probably get some money. But in turn, they tell you one thing and they do another. They tell you one thing, but they do another. I'm not making this up, family. We're looking at it right here. White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunities for Hispanics, not Hispanic colleges, not Hispanic courses, but the entire group of Hispanics that are in America. And it states here, nearly 14 million students in our nation's public elementary and secondary school system, 4 million students in post-secondary. He's talking about Hispanics. He's talking about the entire race of Hispanics. This executive order is covering all Hispanics when it comes to education. And I don't even want to pop up the other initiative that is for economic prosperity. That is a blow your rocker. That is absolutely bonkers to me. But you're going to go vote for people who simply promise you things, right? That's what we're doing. Because if you believe a certain thing, if you belong to a certain sector, then essentially you don't want to listen to any information that can contradict, combat, or refute the information that you've already learned through other measures and pressures and through other mechanisms like mass media or social media or a friend or a family. But when somebody shows you fact, right, matter of fact, someone shows you the truth from the horse's mouth, how can anyone refute that? How can anyone go against that particular information? How can anyone do that? Then I would definitely label you insane. I'm just showing you, family, because I think it's important to do a compare and contrast with this. You know your boys over at Fox News, they're going to report all of it. I made sure I kind of deal with a bipartisan news agency with Newsweek, but who knows who fund them. But family, this is your contract with Black America that Cube have up, and look at the website now. Let me see what you guys are saying. Message says, but check calls of some of the executive orders aren't in federal registry and they aren't supposed to be like the V mandate. I don't think where is it? Good to go. Free world, what's going on? He says, no surprise, everything but money. Of course. See, this is the trick bag that a lot of our people don't understand, is that it's kind of like your uncle said, yeah, I'll pay you back. But your uncle never pays you back. That's how it goes, family. Your uncle never pays you back. You know, when a family member essentially borrows some money from you, that is how the federal government treats us. They promise something knowing they're never going to pay up. You know, sometimes, you know, your friends, your family, I got you. I'm going to take care of that. And you keep calling, you keep showing up, and they keep saying, I'm going to take care of it. But come out and support, come out and vote, come out and get black eyed peas and catfish nuggets and put on your skates and throw your bussy up. I mean, that's what happens to us all the time. During the election, I saw people in line to vote dancing. I was like, why are they dancing? And you know, they had the nerve to put on the electric slide. Family, it is important that we understand what the political powers are doing and how they're doing it. And there's no sure way for you or your loved ones and your family to essentially receive anything from this government. My question is this: what has your government done for you that it has not done for any other group? That's the first question. Because I know some of you like, here, president of America, not just black people. I got you. And then the other question would be, when you look at groups he's done things for versus what he has done for us. And that's why these compare and contrast and looking at the power of the Oval Office with executive orders, what essentially has already occurred for other groups that hasn't occurred for people who look like you and I. And this is the problem, right? You go out there, you may donate some of your money, you may march, protest, and then you cast your vote. And then the conditions for us, I mean, this is not a lie. Listen to this. Statistically, for us, every time that melanated people are under a Democratic president, we do worse. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. We still do bad. Listen to that. I'm apolitical. I don't pick a side. I'm not even on the horse. I'm not riding to the left, riding to the right. Doesn't matter. The point is we do bad under both presidencies. So we love to use this analogy, do we not? If you continue to do something over and over again, expecting different results, you're crazy. So, as a whole, I would say that 40 million American descendant of slaves, foundational Black Americans, are crazy. Not individually, but as a collaborative group, as a $1 million community. When I mean million, I said $1 million, but millions and millions of in our community. We continue to do the same thing, and we're infighting because we have people that look like us. I'm going there. People that look like us that are not for us. See, here's my thing. I know we've been going back and forth with the whole, immigrants, whether it be from the Caribbean or the continent of Africa, and that's another form of infighting. Right. It is another form of infighting. What basically my argument with that is, if not even an argument, a statement would be, we have to help ourselves before we help any other group. We have to go with what is owed to us before we help any other group. It's kind of like you need a spare tire in order for you to travel to your destination, but you see somebody else who needs one spare tire. And you give them your spare tire and they continue down the road and your ass still stuck on the side. See, people don't like this talk because they think that when you don't want to help another group that looks like you, that you're being divisive, that you're being a separatist, that you're not being a Pan-Africanist, or you're not encompassing inclusion through the diaspora. No. It's not about that. It's about that we're on an airplane and the cabin pressure has decreased, and it's been decreased for a very long time. And we have continued to get other groups who share some of our same genotype, the oxygen first. And then when they get the help that they need, when they get the support that they need, instead of passing over the oxygen, they cut it off and talk bad that you're choking, that you're dying. That's how it is. That's my refute from the argument. Because we can go into a lot of Democratic shields or immigrants. They're from different countries, first generation, second generation, but the ideologies they still have of cutthroat, not helping nobody else but themselves. I can go there. But why? The proof is in the pudding. Because what we do, family, is when we see people on TV that's quote unquote representing us because they look like us, the one thing that we don't do is find out their origin, find out where they're from. Do we not? Let me tell you something. On a very minuscule level, we do that all the time. We find out who people are before we start dealing with them. I remember in Southeast DC, they had all different types of gangs everywhere, right? The one thing they would ask you is, what set you repping? What set you repping? Where you from? Oh, you one of them. Oh, yeah, you over there, right? They knew you belonged to a certain group, but not us. We do it in our hoods. We do it in our neighborhoods and communities. We want to know what set are you repping before we allow you in our neighborhoods. But we don't do that with immigrants, do we not? We think because they look like us, they're for us. Some of them are, but not all. A majority of them are not. Because if they were, we will be together in Pan-Africanism. We all be fighting the powers that are in position that have stole something from that it is owed. That's what we'll be doing, correct? But that's not happening. That's not happening, family. So we have to help ourselves first and say, hey, forget the rest. We'll handle this later. We'll come back to this later because we've tried this before. Our ancestors and even our people today have fought and protested and died off of immigration rights by the way of the Civil Rights Act and other sorts of acts and initiatives. But all we get is vitriol from other groups. All we get is people undermine us all the damn time. So regardless of, essentially, we need to know where people are from. I know we shouldn't be so divisive and divided over things, but family, we have to draw the line in the sand. We have to stop. Are you an American descendant of slave? Do you consider yourself a foundational Black American? Do you consider yourself the original American Indians, which look like you and I? Are you an Aboriginal, indigenous to your land? Regardless of the group that you came from, because we need to understand that only 6% of the slaves that were taken from, the Africans that were taken from the continent came to America, only 6%. And the rest of them were indigenous to the land. They were Aborigines. So we're all mixed in there together now. That group and our group, that group, our group, that group are the American descendants of slaves, and we're owed something from this country, just like other groups. Just like other groups, and we keep supporting all these political affiliations. We divide ourselves on economic status, on political status, on there's so much division, family, because at the end of the day, if you're an American descendant of slaves, either you're for reparations or you're not for reparations. Either you're for justice for our kind or you're not. But the least that you can do is shut the hell up. Just shut up. What I hate is when our people go public, Herschel Walker, that you don't support reparations. But here we are again. Everybody's talking about taxes. That if we get reparations out, What about taxes? You know what I don't hear? A lot of Democratic and Republican shields that look like you and I. You know what I don't hear them saying? That's what I don't hear them saying. I don't hear anyone talking about this and pushing back against this. Now, unfortunately, our brothers and sisters in Haiti are on their way back home. And I feel for any family that are going through a tumultuous time, a very chaotic time, but I have my family to worry about. I'm going to make it even realer for you. Your son is drowning. And his son is drowning. Who are you going to save first? That's my point. That's my point. 2 points here, family. Recognize with political powers foolery and how they trick and manipulate you, no matter the party. Second point, recognize the political party that panders to you but never pays up, that never essentially gives us as a group anything to decrease the wage gap between us, Asians, Hispanics, and whites. That's the second point. Be very, very aware of the political group that panders and talks bull crap to you the most and lets you know two things that's contradicting. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black, one. And two, the African American took care of me, had my back, and I'm going to have their back as well. Well, it's been a minute here, and I know a lot has happened in less than a year's time frame, but the power of the Oval Office, the power of the executive order has not trickled down to foundational American descendant of slaves. It has not. And then the other distractions are from other immigrant groups that when we tried Pan-Africanism, they slapped our hand when we reached out. They undermine us. They talk bad about us on our own platforms here in America. And then when you start doing their lineage and history, you're from another country talking bull crap, telling us how lazy we are and what we haven't done, but don't know any of our history. And I would like to go out and say we know as an entire group, as American descendant slaves, we know more about African than some Africans. We know more about the Caribbean than some Caribbean folk. Yeah. I'm going to go off on a limb and say that. Because I have some African friends. We're good buddies. They know where I stand at. Some of them are first and second generation that was born here, and they understand. Some of them been around us enough to learn the history and learn the things that we have done for immigrant groups. And they're in support of that. And those are the ones you don't hear. The ones you do hear, they have a special interest with the government to undermine us. And some of them are voluntary because they think they're going to get some sort of trinkets and or position or some sort of symbolism. And this is why I don't talk about the Afghanis. This all makes sense to me. The population of white people in America are declining. They need to increase their numbers so they can continue to oppress us. This is very easy. And oppression doesn't mean like modern day slavery. I'm talking about simply oppression economically. Because here's the thing. If you had more money and America was unfair in the justice system, but you had the best lawyers, shout out goes out to O.J. Simpson, you can essentially get away with a lot of things. Or you'll have proper representation that you can afford if you were financially stable. So it's not a matter of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. It's about taking care of your personal finances, but still in support of what the country owes to a group of people. And that's American descendants of slaves. The reason why these sort of sessions are important for you to understand the power of the Oval Office and executive orders is that they can write money. They can give you support through these pieces of legislation. And I tell you, family, everything revolves back to money. Everything. Everything is about money. They even would tell you that capitalism started with slavery, and it was based upon what? Riches and wealth. So now that ancient slavery is essentially over in America, and we can use some of the same principles to obtain wealth, but very slowly, because our historical wealth has been essentially wiped away from us as a group. But there's some things that you can do personally to essentially get yourself on track. And I'm going to go to the 4 tiers of money. First thing is, are you essentially lowering your debt? Are you saving your money 3 to 6 months in case another damn pandemic happens? Are you investing some of your money? Are you investing inside your organization 401k, 403b, and C? Are you doing these things? You can never do enough, family. You can never do enough, because you have to take care of you, even though there's a bill to be paid here, but there's still things that you can do for yourself. And none of this should deter you. And I'm going to leave you with this. The next time any political party comes to you and tell you what they're going to do, tell them to do it first. Then you will vote for them. Do it first, and then I will vote for you. Time and time again, I've heard this. Well, he better than Donald Trump. And I ask, how? And every time they bring up housing discrimination or Central Park 5, the only thing, you're going to bring up the 1994 crime bill. Yeah, we're doing compare and contrast. This is their history. And even doing running through the presidency, I didn't see Donald Trump saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. He didn't say that to any other group. It's a form of disrespect. We just love getting disrespected. And also historically, neither group has done nothing for our people. So you're saying, well, we shouldn't vote. I'm not saying you shouldn't vote. And people hate when I say it, but I'm going to say it again. Until they do something actually, they do it first, you should hold your vote, because your ancestors, quote unquote, have died and fought for you for the right to vote. Not that you should, the right. Because if a third of us, American descendants of slaves, don't vote, we will turn the vote. We will swing the vote in our favor. Then we'll start having tangibles versus intangibles. We'll start having promises being made and kept versus promises being broke. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. If you guys have any statements or questions, leave them in the chat. As usual, I'm going to be here a couple of more minutes, and we're going to rock out. They have done nothing for us. This is what you need to understand. How long are we going to be continue to be lied to? How long? How long until the majority of us wake up? There's a lot of us waking up. But when will the majority of us wake up? You may not agree with everything I've said here. And I say this to a lot of people. We may not agree on everything. But can we agree on one or two things and move forward? Other groups from around the world, they disagree on everything, but they do not disagree on how about to get this money. They don't disagree on that. They don't disagree how to go out, attain wealth, attain riches, be successful. They do not argue with that. They make a plan, they build an agenda, and they follow it. The problem is we think that in order for us to be together, in order for us to talk together, in order for us to walk together, that we must agree on every single thing. That we must agree on every single thing. No, no, no. Can we agree on one or two things? And once we do that, family, once we agree on one or two things, you will see the power that we really have.